American in Japan, have you enjoyed any special privileges?
Especially with some of my American friends, we've joked about having the foreigner card. And possibly as an American, I do get...
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Akunna, a Nigerian living and studying here in Japan. Thank you for coming on this ride with me. Let's go. So here today we have Bethany, an American living here too.
Hello.
Bethany. Okay, today I would like to talk about your experience in Japan. How has life been for you in Japan so far?
Yeah, I have actually been living in Japan for about 10 years now, on and off, with some time, extended time back in the States. I first came as an English teacher back in 2011, and I worked as an English teacher here in Sendai for 4 years. And that experience, I was kind of in a little American bubble. The school that I taught at, there were a lot of expat American teachers, and so my culture shock then was more like a personal identity crisis of leaving everything and everyone I had ever known back in America, coming somewhere completely new and knowing no one, knowing nothing, and really coming to the question of like, who am I when nobody knows me? So that was really my first experience with culture shock, was more of the identity crisis kind of thing. So I worked at the English school for 4 years, and then I eventually transitioned into becoming a missionary, partnered with a local church here in Sendai.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so my pastor is Japanese, but it is an international church. So that was back in 2016 when I came back to Sendai as a full-time missionary, and that was really the first time immersing myself more in Japanese culture and getting really serious about the language.
Oh, that's a long time. So you've been here roughly for about 10 years?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess you've adapted much more. Your Japanese level now is N what?
N2.
Guys, if you don't know what N2 means, N2 is like, after N2 is N1, and N1 is like a Japanese standard. If you're N1, that means you're pure Nihonjin, Japanese. So if she's N2, that means she's like big sensei. That means you could write research papers though in Japanese.
I don't know much about the university and research life, so I'll
vocabulary.
take your word. I'll take your word for
I
it.
see. Yeah, but I think you would do well with that. Yes. Okay. Okay. So next, being an American in Japan, have you enjoyed any special privileges?
Especially with some of my American friends, we've joked about having the foreigner card. So if you're a little bit more crude with it, the gaijin card.
Yes,
so
the
the outside person card. So anytime that we make a kind of like a cultural gaffe or there's a cultural misunderstanding, we usually say it's like, oh, I'll play my gaijin card. And so that's basically kind of just having an added degree of grace and forgiveness from the Japanese people of, I'm an outsider, I'm not a Japanese person.
Things happening here.
So I do recognize that as a foreigner, I'm not seen to be having the same kind of cultural expectations or even manner expectations as a Japanese person would have. And possibly as an American, I do get approached, especially as a white American, I do get approached sometimes with people who are interested in speaking English. Yes.
Yes, I can imagine that a lot. Because even though I'm black, some people, when they hear me speak English, they're like, are you American? And I'm like, no. But I noticed they are more, I don't know, enthusiastic to meet Americans because of the USA-Japan relationship. Yes.
And American culture in Hollywood is worldwide, and like many people in Japan enjoy American dramas, and so so my English is a little bit more what they've been exposed to with the Hollywood and drama culture.
One thing that gets me worried when they want to interact with Americans mostly is the energy. I'm sure Japanese cannot match the American gene energy. So when they showed such enthusiasm, I'm like, can you meet up? Can you meet up with the American energy? So have you like experienced them being more maybe out of their shells when they meet you? Or they're still the cool, shy people?
Good question. It really depends on the person.
Oh.
So, I actually started to notice that with some of my students when I was teaching elementary students at the English school. I could tell that my students had a personality, like their English speaking American personality, when they came to the school, and they were louder, they were bolder. And that was, if I happened to see them outside of the school setting or in a place where they were speaking their Japanese, it seems like a very different personality than what they showed me in our
school.
classroom.
Ah,
Yes.
I see.
Mhm.
I guess we all have that part of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there actually is a shift in identity formation when you're learning a foreign language.
Yes.
Because language is not just about the words you speak. It's not learning a subject like math or science. This is learning to communicate and get...
be like a certain kind of people. Yes.
Yeah. You can't learn language apart from culture, and when you
True.
learn and immerse yourself in culture, it rubs off on you.
Yeah, I think I agree with that because honestly, sometimes I'm like, who am I? Who is this? This is not me. Now I'm less dramatic. I'm more quiet. I'm like so introverted. I'm like whom I used to be. I don't know if you remember me when I joined the church newly, but now we are like two distinct personalities.
You still dance during worship, and never lose that. Keep dancing during worship,
I'll
please.
do that.
Yes.
Okay, so what fascinates you most about Japan?
One more time?
What fascinates you most about Japan?
Honestly, like we were talking about being more introverted or kind of more to yourself, but honestly, I think the way Japanese people do community, and I think it is especially noticeable for me coming in as an American, because on the cultural spectrum, someone from the United States culture is very individualistic.
Yes.
Strongly individualistic. And there are lots of really great things that come out of that. You get a lot of great expressions of art and music, and have a lot of conversations about identity, and I think the mental and emotional health breakthroughs have come in through a lot of that kind of mindset thinking. And in Japan, they're on almost the exact opposite spectrum of the collective, and the community is more important than individual identity, and protecting the integrity of the community and making sure that everyone is taken care of.
Yes.
There are drawbacks to that, but there are also really good and beautiful things about that too. And so having a value for making sure everyone in the group is taken care of, that people aren't left out. And I think the way that Japanese people do community, I think that there are a lot of really beautiful and awesome strengths in that.
Yes, I admire that too about them. Okay, so on to the next. Let's talk about cultural shock. You've spoken about cultural shock when you came to Japan. How about when you go back to America? Do you get re-shocked?
Yeah. Even now, I still get some reverse culture shock.
Okay.
Some of my favorite instances of reverse culture shock. So one of my very first ones was the first time that I went home for Christmas. It was actually after living in Japan for a few years. And I'm sure that some of your viewers have seen other videos about some really awesome things in Japan, and the toilet seats often come up as a pretty awesome part of living daily life in Japan. Well, I went home for Christmas one year, and my first instance of reverse culture shock this time around was sitting on the toilet in winter, and it was ice cold, and I totally forgot what it was like to sit on a cold toilet seat, and I'm pretty sure that I actually out loud in the bathroom.
I'm sure people were like, what's happening, Becky?
Are you okay? Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, I really admire Japan for that. Like, I don't know, but Japan has redefined what convenience means. convenience is convenience in Japan. Like everything has to be comfortable and convenient at any particular time, no matter how little it is. Honestly, I respect them for that. I really do respect them for that. Down to the toilets, like the seat has to be warm during winter and cool during summer. Guys, you're wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And on this note, we'll be saying bye and see you next time. Thank you.